All right, so we have talked about graphing inequalities, a little bit about what inequalities are. So now we're going to talk about solving inequalities. Oops. I'm going to give you a hint. It is like 95% the same as solving an equation. Okay. Just without the equal sign. There's like one, maybe two slightly different rules. Okay. So our I can statement is I can solve an inequality do these all print blank? Okay, for whatever reason, it printed the problems blank, but we are just gonna write them in because I already printed all of them, and I'd rather not like kill 10 more trees. So here we are. So let's review our symbols. This is the less than symbol, greater than, less than or equal to, that little line means equal to, and then greater than or equal to. So like I said, solving an inequality is just like solving an equation. Okay, and we always work from the side with the variable. Okay. All right, so I'm going to show you why in a second, but we have a special rule. Okay, when you multiply or divide by a negative, you're going to flip the direction of the inequality sign. I will show you why, but this is like so important. So underline it, put a star next to it, highlight it, whatever you got to do. This is like the one huge difference between equations and inequalities. When you multiply or divide by a negative, flip the direction of the inequality sign. All right, so it wrote our problem, the first one, don't know why. I forgot the other ones, okay? But we're going to use this space to solve it. So I'm just going to rewrite my inequality. And you can't write super big. Okay, so just rewrite your inequality. And then I like to, let me get my pencil. So instead of drawing the line through it, I kind of like just to draw the line underneath like that. Right? Because we have to draw the line to keep it organized. So go ahead and draw that line. And let me write cons. All right. So then we're going to use the same steps from solving an equation. So question number 1, are there parentheses? No. So I move to question 2. Are there like terms on the same side of the symbol? No. Okay. All right. So then I have to say, is there a constant? Yes. 11 is our constant. It's whatever we're adding or subtracting to our variable. So I'm going to undo the constant by doing the opposite thing. The opposite of plus 11 is minus 11. What I do on the side of the variable, I have to do on the other side of the inequality as well. Okay. So the 11s will cancel each other out, and I still have x. This time, instead of writing equals, I'm going to bring my inequality sign straight down. And 8 minus 11 is negative 3. Okay. Even though we subtracted and there was a minus, the flipping rule is only for multiplying and dividing. Okay. All right, so now I'm ready to graph it. My circle is going to go on negative 3. Okay. And then it's a greater than symbol, which is an open circle. Okay. And we're going to start on negative 3. So I want to shade my arrow for any number that's greater than negative 3. So I'm going to pick some test points. So I'm going to pick 1 to the left of my circle. Let's try negative 4. So I'm trying negative 4. Is negative 4 bigger than negative 3? No, it's more negative, so it's actually smaller. So negative 4 doesn't work. Remember that we pick our exact point. Is negative 3 bigger than itself? No. Okay, so I don't get to color my circle in. That's why it's open. Okay, and then I'm going to pick some to the right. Let's pick 0. I always like to work with 0. Is 0 greater than negative 3? Yeah. The more to the right you go, the bigger it is. So I know that any number on this side is going to be greater than negative 3. So I'm going to draw my arrow. That arrow tells me, as long as I keep going to the right on my number line, it's going to be greater than negative 3. All right, so right in your next one, I have to squeeze it in there. Negative 8x plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 61. So I'm going to start by rewriting in this box to solve it. Oh, where'd my questions go? All right, so are there parentheses? Nope. Are there like terms? Nope. We do have a constant, so we're going to undo the constant, which is plus 3. It's what I'm adding to my variable. So I'm going to draw this line to keep my sides separated. The opposite of plus 3 is minus 3. So that gets rid of these 3's, and I still have a negative 8x. Okay. Negative 61 minus 3 is negative 64. Oh, and I wrote in equals. That's why you guys write in pencil. Okay, let me erase that. Okay, and then my symbol is going to come straight down. So negative 8x is less than or equal to negative 64. Okay. All right, now I have to undo my coefficient. That's step 4. Undo the coefficient. Okay, which is negative 8. Negative 8x means negative 8 times x. The opposite of that is dividing. So I'm going to divide by negative 8. Negative 8x divided by negative 8 is just 1x. Negative 64 divided by negative 8 is positive 8. And here's where my special rule comes in. And I will show you why. Okay. All right, so let's just say, don't write this part down, that I did not flip the direction of my symbol. okay? That means that any number smaller than 8 will work. So like 0. If I substitute that back into my original equation, so negative 8 times 0 plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 61. Negative 8 times 0, is 0. Zero plus 3 is less than or equal to negative 61. 0 plus 3 is 3. Okay, 3 is not less than negative 61. 3 is positive. It's bigger than any negative number. So that doesn't work, okay? But since I divided by a negative, if I flip the direction of my inequality, okay, and I pick a number that's greater than 8, let's do 10 for easiness. And I substitute 10 in my original equation. Negative 8 times 10 is negative 80. Okay. Negative 80 plus 3 is negative 77. Negative 77 is less than or equal to negative 61. So when I flip the direction of my symbol, it works. Now, if that like totally confused you, just know that if you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to flip the direction. So instead of less than or equal to, it's going to be greater than or equal to. Okay. So I'm going to start my circle on positive 8. Okay. And then I'm going to figure out which way my arrow is going to go. Zoom out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pick a point to the left of my circle. Let's do 5. So instead of X, I'm going to put 5. Is 5 greater than or equal to 8? No. So I don't get to color in 5. We're going to pick the point itself, 8. So instead of X, I put 8. Is 8 greater than or equal to itself? Well, 8 is not bigger than itself, but it is equal to itself. That works, so I get to color it in. And remember that if we have an equal to sign, it's going to be a closed circle that gets colored in. Okay. All right, and then I got to pick one more point to the right. Let's try 10. Is 10 greater than or equal to 8? Yes, 10 is bigger than 8. That works. So I get to draw my arrow to the right. Okay, and then our last one, we're going to solve together. Write this in with me. Is 1/4 x minus 5 is less than negative 6. So I'm going to start by rewriting my inequality. 1/4 x minus 5 is less than negative 6. I draw a line underneath. Okay? And then I'm going to solve it just like I solve an equation. There's no parentheses, there's no like terms. So I'm going to start with my constant, whatever I'm adding or subtracting to my variable. The opposite of minus 5 is plus 5. What I do on the side of the variable, I have to do on the other side. So the 5's cancel each other out, and I still have 1/4 x. My inequality symbol comes straight down, so it is less than negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1. So now my inequality is 1/4 x is less than negative 1. Okay, remember that to get rid of a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply by like the flipped version of it, so by 4 over 1. Okay, because 4 over 1 times 1 over 4, you multiply across. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 over 4 is just 1. So that gets me to 1x. What I multiply by on this side, I have to multiply by on this side. Okay, so negative 1 over 1 times 4 over 1. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. 1 times 1 is 1. So you just get negative 4. And my symbol comes straight down. Okay. So even though we multiplied by this negative 1, the new number we were multiplying by was not negative. I don't flip my symbol. Okay. Only if the new thing you're multiplying or dividing by is negative. So now I'm ready to graph. I put my circle on the starting point, so negative 4. And then I pick some test points to see which way should my arrow go. So my inequality is x is less than negative 4. So I pick a number to the right, left. So let's do negative 5. So instead of negative 5, instead of x, put negative 5. Is negative 5 less than negative 4? Yes, it's more negative, so that one works. So I know I get to color that way at least. Pick our point. Is negative 4 less than negative 4? Nope, it's equal to itself, but I don't have an equal to part. So I don't get to color in my circle, so it's an open circle. It does not have an equal to part. All right, and then I just like to double check, maybe I did something wrong. I like to pick a number to the right. Let's do 0. Is 0 less than negative 4? Nope. It is not less than negative 4. It's actually bigger, okay? So this is the only direction I get to color, so that I know that if I continued my number line, any number to the left would be less than negative 4. All right, so you have the practice on the back, okay? Make sure you go through. You might need some separate paper to solve them. My bad. So make sure that you solve and graph. And that's it. You got this. Have fun.